Japan bombed Pearl Harbor, many Americans began to consider Japanese Americans as traitors against America. Because of this, on February 19, 1942, President Franklin D. Roosevelt signed Executive Order 9006. Executive Order 9006 ordered the relocation of all people of Japanese descent living along the West Coast to be put into internment camps. Relocation of Japanese Americans began in April of 1942. All Japanese immigrants and Japanese Americans on the West Coast and in Arizona were taken from their homes and put into internment camps. 110,000 Japanese Americans and Japanese citizens were held in these camps during World War II. They were put in these camps not because they had been tried or found guilty of something, but because either they or their parents or ancestors were from Japan, and as such they were considered a threat to national security. While in these internment camps, they were forced to live in barracks, which were surrounded by barbed wire, sentry posts, and armed guards. These Japanese civilians were forced to leave their homes and businesses, most of which were no longer there for them upon their return. When these Japanese civilians eventually returned to their homes, nobody wanted them there. They were discriminated against and were victims of hate crimes.
I remember, that unforgettable day, that terrible day when American soldiers came to the front door of our house to order us out. He carried a bayoneted rifle. And I was 4 years old at the time, but, your parents' tension, my mother was crying, we'd been packing, all that transfers. You really don't understand what's going on, but I will never forget that little. Yeah, I was born and raised here in LA. And simply because we happen to look like the people who bombed Pearl Harbor. There were no charges, there were no trials, no due process. We were summarily rounded up and put into these barbed wire, sentry tower, machine guns pointed. When I made the night runs to the latrine, the searchlights followed me. It was a concentration camp, pure and simple. The euphemism was relocation center. It sounds very innocuous. Machine guns pointed at us. Armed soldiers, barbed wire. And I went to school, behind those barbed wire fences, and we began every morning with the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I could see the barbed wire fence and the sentry towers and the machine gun right outside my schoolhouse window as I recited the words, "With liberty and justice for all." When we came back, I started school again, and I had a teacher that continued to refer to me as that little Jap boy. That stunk. It was a dark chapter in American history.
WWII